This day has finally come and I will share with you my entire rose perfumes collection, which consists out of more than 20 perfumes. So please keep on watching to find out everything about those rose-centered fragrances. Hello everyone, I'm so glad that you tuned into this video that I've been wanting to do for many years, and I've always wanted to do it by the end of the year. Right now we are in September, the year is coming to the end. I'm not sure if I will get more rose perfumes or not, so I decided to revisit my rose collection. Since the last time I filmed a video about rose perfumes, I gained so many more fragrances, and after buying this amazing hoodie with the little prince on it and his precious rose, I was really inspired to film this video. You probably know that I adore that's kind of like my thing, to match perfumes and topics of my videos to my outfits. So yeah, I have roses in my ears, I have a rose on my hoodie, and Little Prince is one of the most touching and amazing stories ever. So I'm not sure if you're familiar with it, but if not, you should definitely read it. I think it's amazing for kids, but even if you're grown up, it's full of wisdom and just touching moments. So let me know in the comments if you've ever read Little Prince, and if you love it, definitely give this video a thumbs up. Maybe you also love rose perfumes. I know that opinion on rose is very polarizing. Some adore rose fragrances, to some they can be old-fashioned, or I don't really know why people find reasons not to like rose perfumes, but I can understand that to some this material can be maybe a little bit too dominating or something like that. And it's amazing and actually very fascinating how many different rose materials are out there, literally hundreds of so many different roses from different origins, different methods of distillation and stuff like that. So many synthetic and natural molecules. So that's pretty fascinating. Rose is the queen of all flowers, and I find that there are more lovers than haters of rose, but let me know to which group do you belong. And on that note, today I will run you through my entire rose perfume collection, except for the rose samples and trial sprays that I own but didn't wanna include into this video. I will show you the bottles, I will explain you each single fragrance. They are all very different, so I sincerely hope this video is going to be helpful for those who love rose and are looking for more perfumes with it. Let's begin with the most wearable and universal rose perfume from my collection, which is number one rose for me that I own till this day, and it is called a Trembling Rose. It's by the Swedish niche house Linda Lundenberg, and I absolutely adore her beautiful bottles and her small but pretty collection of perfumes. At this point I own 3 of them and miss only one, which I hope to get in the near future, but a Trembling Rose is probably my number one favorite, not only among rose perfumes but also from this brand. And the reason why I love it so much is because it is very easy to wear it, and it smells like a real rose, but at the same time perfumey, fresh, dewy, with the gorgeous juicy fruitiness that comes from blackcurrant. And I like that the rose essence in there is very light and luminous, but at the same time with depth that comes from sandalwood and some carnation that adds body to it. So it's a very lovely, romantic, everyday friendly rose perfume that is very rosy, and I find there is something so unique about it, but at the same time, you know, it's not too much, it's not too strange, it's not too unusual, it's wearable, it's likable, but at the same time the natural feel of the Trembling Rose makes it very unique. And I have a very exciting update for all who are interested in Linda Lundenberg perfumes, because listen to this. Recently I got one of her perfumes I've been wanting to add to my collection for a long time, particularly at this point when I'm obsessed with peaches, and together with it I got her new candles that look like this, and I'm obsessed with her design. And I have a very special offer to you from Linda, from which I won't benefit, only you, because if you will order one of her 50 ml bottles, you will get one of the candles for free that are so satisfying to look at, and they smell exactly like her perfumes. You won't believe it, but that's true. This is the scent of ripe, delicious peaches that we will talk about in another video, but here I also have the candle scented with a fragrance of a Trembling Rose, the most universal, beautiful and favorite rose perfume from my collection, and it smells exactly like the perfume because it contains the same juice of eau de parfum, which means there is oil of 270 dozens of hand-picked roses from Greece, Bulgaria and Turkey, and burning these candles will create the most luxurious atmosphere at your home for 30 hours. So I'm telling you, if you're interested in her perfumes anyway, which are actually award winners, and I've already talking about them in another videos, then get these candles for free with special coupon code. And keep on your mind, I won't benefit from it, only you, and that's so kind of Linda, in my personal opinion. So check out the official website. The link to it you'll find down below in the description box, and if you need any further assistance, drop me a comment, I will contact Linda, we'll find the way for you to experience this beauty. And on that note, let's move on to other great roses from my collection. Next is of course Tea Rose by Perfumes Workshop, and this, my dear friends, is a well-known rose in the perfumery because it's very realistic. It smells like the real tea rose in your garden. If you're looking for that exact imitation of scent in the perfume, and you want the rose that would smell of stem, of the leaves, of the actual rosebud, I definitely recommend you Tea Rose. It's very fresh rose. It smells very floral. Wow, and green, like with green edges all over it. So my mom loved it, and every time she wore it I can definitely smell it everywhere in the house. So it performs well too, and it's for the lovers of realistic rose soliflores. Let's move on to something that is heavier, that is deeper and sweeter, which is Rosetta Eve by Paris Monte Carlo. And I fell in love with this rose right at first sniff. I do remember I had a sample of it and wanted a full bottle badly, because this is that kinda oriental but not too heavy rose scent. And oriental roses are very pretty, but sometimes harder to wear than the fresh ones, and this one combines the citrusy aspect of the rose flower and the depth, the spiciness of it. It blooms on the skin, and the sweetness is not sticky, it's not gourmand, it's like the sweetness of the actual rose flower that's in there. And I do think it will appeal to those who love complex rose perfumes that are not very much one-dimensional, that develop on the skin, that perform nicely, that are very bold, because this grows on your skin and becomes only louder. So yeah, it's a full-on rose on your... So yeah, it's a full-on rose right into your face, but once again done masterfully, actually by Luca Mafoy, and I like his perfumes. And this is that in the middle between Western and Middle Eastern roses. The next rose I have here joined my collection in the beginning of the year, and that was when I was obsessed with Rose Sprig by Tom Ford, and it's probably the first ever case when I purchased perfume, not only because of its scent, but actually because of its packaging and the bottle, because I was so obsessed with it. Something about this particularly, I think, matte design and of course pale pink color appealed to me very much, although I do think it was slightly overpriced for the way it smells, because it's nothing too spectacular. It's a well done spicy patchouli rose. It's pretty spicy though, so you need to like spicy perfumes to fully enjoy it and get much wear out of it. But I bought it simply for this beautiful flacon, and once again, the smell is not bad. It's cool, it's kinda daring in a way, which I like, but I have another spicy rose in my collection that I actually prefer, and it looks also very nicely, just as Rose Freak, but differently. And I'm talking about Leopard by Sarah Baker. That was my first ever perfume I experienced from this amazing English indie brand, and Leopard is a very spicy, very much patchouli, peppery, cardamom, vetiver, labdanum kind of rose. So, you know, it's not your rose flower that grows in your garden, not at all. It's a very dated, beautifully aromatic, spicy rose with depth of patchouli and some molecules that push on the rose, and it definitely performs amazingly, being almost beast modey. And if you are going out in the winter and you want a loud perfume that would be very sexy, that is when I personally wear my Leopard by Sarah Baker, because something about it is indeed animalic, like the way it looks and the way it sounds. Next is probably the prettiest rose bottle ever that I'm obsessed with. Literally, it's so out of this world. Just look at it. Cajon has more beautiful floral bottles like this, and something about the contrast of the colors, this black and this vivid red, is so stunning, right? And it's a very, very appealing, sexy but not aggressive rose, like for example Leopard was. It's a very sweet, sexy kind of rose. Oh my god, I have it on today, and it's honeyed, it's truly oriental. The rose in there is not too heavy. There are other elements that you can smell, but the floral essence comes from rose ylang and jasmine, which are all narcotic flowers, and with that vanilla, honey and spices, particularly nutmeg and tonka, that creates almost like a powdery twist in there. There is something so deeply satisfying and addictive about this fragrance, which to me is a nighttime going out type of rose fragrance that performs particularly well when it's cold outside, because it's so warm and cozy, but at the same time it's not simple, it's highly complex, and that's where I do love it. But unfortunately there are not many occasions where I can wear it too. The most... Alright, can you guess the sweetest rose that I own and love? I've already mentioned this fragrance in a couple of my videos, and that is Cicuta by Quinto Canto from Paolo and Tiziana Terenzi. And this collection was inspired by deadly poisons that Lucrezia Borgia, who was actually the daughter of some cardinal in Italy. So yeah, she was known for her poisons. She used to hallucinate and kind of like make crazy her lovers and guests at the extravagant parties with. And this particular one is probably my favorite from the Red collection by Quinto Canto, that is all inspired by, and all those perfumes are inspired by different love stories. This particular chapter is dedicated to those dangerous ones, and it's a dangerously sweet but truly attractive rose that is very hard, almost impossible to resist. And if Mandragola, that I rave about all the time, was a little bit too much for you and you wish something sweeter, something rosier, you know, then Cicuta might be something for you. I do like it for the citrus splash in the opening. There is so much citrus in there, which is all sweet, but that helps it from, like, it prevents it from being sticky and sweet, you know. Sometimes perfumes can be cloying when they are that sweet. So it's kind of like a jammy, delicious rose with lots of citrus in the opening that makes it fresher in a way, and also more mouth-watering, more juicy. So yeah, I do like it for that. It's quite universal too, surprisingly, because you might think it is rather suitable for special occasions, which I think it is, and you want to be dressed up when you're wearing it. But if you want something sexy, you want to feel sexy right away, that's a very magical fragrance that can help with that. Alright, this perfume, I've been waiting to film this video to talk about it. It's called Rosamonda by this brand JUS. It's JU Unique and Sensorial from France. Unfortunately, I probably murdered its name, but I do love this stunning color, which, can you imagine the rose that would have a color like this? Like, it's exactly how it smells. Very juicy, green, bright, sparkling. It's like rose, a green rose out of glass. This is exactly how it smells. It's greener than any other rose, okay? And it smells realistic of rose, but something about it makes you feel like perfume. It's not like tea rose, okay? This is the exact rose from your garden, with the stem, with the leaf, and in here you get kind of like the juice of rose petals and the stem. So it's very interesting. It's very unisex too, very modern kind of rose, I would say. So maybe it's for the rose haters who don't like typical rose fragrances and want something fun. Rosamonda is definitely a lot of fun to wear, because it won't make you to smell like a walking rose, and I think that is what might scare some people about rose perfumes. Alright, now we are moving on to a hardcore rose that is by Miguel Matos, and it's called Miracle of Roses. Now, this is a very interesting gourmand rose. It's very foodie, very spicy, and the metallic element that is very much prominent in there might come from the cinnamon and milk, surprisingly, which actually should make it milky, and it kind of does it in a way, but at the same time it's very polarizing, kind of strange, very avant-garde type of a rose fragrance. Once again, not a typical kind of rose, so if you're looking for something that will make you wow and will make you feel like you've discovered something very creative, that is surely Miracle of Roses, that smells powdery, heliotrope, irisy, rosy, foodie, spicy, you know, warm, and at the same time there is some smoke and woods in there. So yeah, it's a great rose for those who are looking for extremely long-lasting perfume. It's one of the most long-lasting perfumes I've ever smelled, I've ever worn. You don't want to overspray it because it would be too much for sure, but other than that, I do like it a lot. It's one of the strongest rose perfumes I've ever smelled. And another one is Rosé Alida by Galahad Fragrances. And this brand stands for amazing performance, as you might know, and this is probably my #1 from this house from Texas, because it smells to me personally like red wine out of roses. So it's kind of boozy. It's very boozy actually, but at the same time it smells of candied, sweet, sugary fruits. So it's fruity, boozy, rosy, but not typically rosy, okay? It's not like rose right into your face, but the floral element comes from the actual rose. And this is an amazing perfume if you're going out and you want amazing sillage, performance, and lots of questions what are you wearing, because it smells absolutely great. Okay, I have something for those who are looking for a vintage rose, and it's Rose Polaroid by SP Perfumes, and it's a rose flash. It will definitely make you go woo when you spray it on, because the opening is so sharp, metallic, aldehydic, very clean, and then the rose creeps in and it's green, you know, it's flashy and very long lasting too. It smells kind of soapy in the dry down and very much like SP Perfumes, but also differently. And if you're familiar with this house from Germany, then you probably know what I'm talking about, because Sven Pritzkaleit has his own style, and I do love Rose Polaroid for the way it feels. It's kind of like a very clean, soapy rose that is also quite green too. So if you love green roses, I've already mentioned a few great ones, but if you want something that would be smoky and dark, I have the darkest, the smokiest perfume ever, Smudge Rose by January Scent Project. That is a very strange perfume, I won't lie. I don't have many occasions where I can pull it off to. It's quite challenging to wear in my personal opinion, but I know that a lot of people love it, and it can be your signature scent for the way how recognizable and unique it is, because there is nothing out there that would compare to this smoky and at the same time very fresh kind of rose. I don't know, it's like if someone put like a lot of roses into a fire and it smells smoky of fire and at the same time of frankincense, of those spiritual smoke. So there is also the note of seashell in there, labdanum, saffron, which is very sharp too. So yeah, very unusual rose. I think that lovers of creative perfumery will definitely enjoy that fragrance. And if you're looking for a very beautiful and luxurious rose experience, but you don't want it to be very floral, I recommend you Harem Rose by... oh my god, I forgot the name of this brand. I haven't talking about it so much and I used to be obsessed with it. Fort and Manley from Australia. Actually, funny story, I purchased this quite expensive perfume for my mom as a Christmas gift, and if you are familiar with Fort and Manley perfumes, the majority of them smells the same. Like there is something that combines all of them, and it's not very rosy, although I know there are some high quality rose essences in there. It smells very, very satisfying. Like this is an addictive rose. If you smelled on someone, you would be obsessed with it. You would be on a hunt for it. You would definitely wanna buy it. It's a safe blind buy in my opinion, and I hate saying that because it's very expensive, but you know, it's kind of like with this earthiness, and I don't like earthiness at all, but in there it's so convenient, it's so appropriate, and it's very rich, it's intoxicating, it's another rose kind of signature scent. So yeah, I do love that rose a lot. I think it's phenomenal, to be honest. And now the time has come to talk about one of the most hyped rose fragrances ever by the House of Matriarch, called Kazimi. And this, my dear friends, is, yes, it's totally worth the hype. First of all, spicy, aromatic, gingery, motivating, uplifting, windy kind of a rose fragrance. Very unisex. It's not dark, but it has some secret to it, some secret that you would be like obsessed with. I find that Kazimi is one of the most unique fragrances out there that appeals to people. Not all unique perfumes are appreciated, and I'm very glad there is such kind of fragrance that is, and that is Kazimi. So if you're looking for a rose, and there are so many rose high quality materials in there, as well as spices, then that's the one for you. And if you want something sweet, something romantic, something feminine, something powdery, something addictive, something that will work out magically on the everyday basis as well as on the going out occasions, I recommend you Junin Rose by Haramain, which is not necessarily very rosy. Don't expect to be full-on rose. It's rather powdered alcohol with gorgeous, fresh, clean flowers, and I have a lot of videos about it. It's one of my personal signature scents and I do love it, but the rose in there is not that much noticeable. And in here I have Floral Sculpture, a portfolio by Haramain too, and this is a great example of a beautiful and successful notes combo of rose and patchouli, which is very popular, and I do like it, and I do like this fragrance for it because it's aromatic in a way, it's deep, it's floral, but not too fresh, not too feminine, you know, with some depth, with some bold notes behind the flowers. So yeah, I do like this fragrance, and if I'm in the mood to wear some kind of patchouli with the rose, but not super spicy as Leopard, I would reach out for that one. And the next is actually the one from Jo Malone I wanted to buy and bought, Red Roses, and it smells, you guys, very clean and authentic of roses, but if you paying attention, it actually smells a little bit like the cleaner for your windows too. So maybe there is kind of like a linalool in there or something. Fresh, beautiful, elegant, easy rose fragrance, not too long lasting, but maybe that's something that some people might look for. I would definitely recommend to go for something more interesting like Me Too by Nana Bailey. This is not a very popular perfume in the community for a strange reason, because not only it's a great rose perfume, but it's a phenomenal fragrance overall. It was inspired by angels and by higher type of love, by love overall, and there is a beautiful smoke element that is juicy, and it's strange but it's true, and rosy too, with some kinda elusive fruity twist. And this rose, I'm telling you, it's rather no, actually it's very unisex. This rose, I think if I need to recommend you one rose out of all of these, okay, I would recommend two. A Trembling Rose, because it's very neutral. This is a great way to describe it. And Me Too. Me Too is one of the prettiest perfumes ever that I gifted to my mom on her birthday, and it's a true signature scent. So if you're looking for something like that with rose, I would recommend you that. But if you are looking for a romantic sort of rose soliflor, this French house called Maison Ribachi has one of the prettiest roses for that, Rose Ribachi. It's fruity, it's rosy, it smells like some great designer kind of rose from back in the days, like 30 years ago. It's very mass appealing, it doesn't smell commercial, it smells very high quality, but there is nothing, ooh, you know, scary or edgy about it. It smells like a beautiful, gentle rose. So I do love it for that, a great romantic kind of rose. And finally, I have two perfumes to talk about. One of them is not very rosy, that's why I wanted to include it in this video but not talk about it too much. Young Hearts by Bruno Campora, that actually won Art and Olfaction Awards in the independent category this year. And it's mostly about pine forest to me, but special forest where not only pine trees but also red roses grow. So yeah, if you're looking for a great piney fragrance with kind of like a rose hint in there, Young Hearts is great for that. But if you are a fan of natural perfumery and you're looking for a lovely rose soliflor, Rainwater Rose by Get a Perfume is botanical rose magic in a bottle. It smells dewy, it smells realistic, it smells like rain on rose petals. And I think that if you want something simple yet very, very exquisite, this is the best rose for that. Alright, now the question is, with which perfume should I scent this rose? I've already applied all of these roses on myself, and now I'm wondering which rose should I put on. So I'm not quite sure what should we do, so maybe you can recommend me some. With which perfume out of all I mentioned you would scent this rose? Comment down below please, and I would like to know your top 3 favorite rose perfumes if you like this note. And if you don't, I don't know what you've been doing all this time on my channel, but thanks for watching anyway, and make sure to give it a thumbs up if you like these kind of videos. Please request more. Maybe there is something on your mind that interests you about my collection. I definitely love rose, as you've noticed, and created more videos on this topic, like exclusive designer rose fragrances, and I shot that video on a beautiful summer day in a rose garden. So yeah, I picked different rose bushes and create a video with Benny there. So if you love roses and you would be interested, in my opinion, on those roses from designer brands that are very luxurious, check out that video, maybe it will be helpful, and I hope this one was too. Please let me know your thoughts in the comments, and please subscribe to my channel if you haven't done that already, and make sure to stay tuned, smell good, and comment below which one out of all these 20 rose perfumes from my collection interested you the most and you maybe put on your wish list. Alright guys, that was all from me today. We'll see each other in the next one really soon. Bye guys!